Imagine this. It's 1988. The air is thick with Thatcherism, unemployment is high, and a generation of young people feels restless, unheard. Then a sound arrives. A hypnotic, repetitive beat, born in the clubs of Chicago and Detroit, finds its way across the Atlantic. This wasn't just music. It was a signal. A call to a revolution you could dance to. This is the story of how a beat, a pill, and a field in the middle of nowhere sparked a cultural explosion that defined a generation. This is the history of the UK rave scene. To understand the explosion of rave, you have to understand the pressure cooker that was late 80s Britain. The social and political climate was tense. For many young people, the future looked bleak. The traditional pubs and clubs, with their strict dress codes, last calls at 11 p.m., and frequent fights, just weren't cutting it anymore. There was a yearning for something more, for a sense of community, freedom, and pure, unadulterated joy. That's when 4 DJs, Paul Oakenfold, Danny Rampling, Nicky Holloway, and Johnny Walker, took a trip that would change everything. In the summer of 1987, they traveled to Ibiza. There they discovered a club called Amnesia and a DJ named Alfredo. He wasn't just playing one genre, he was blending everything from early house music and soul to pop and indie. It was an eclectic, euphoric mix. But it wasn't just the music, it was the atmosphere. People were open, friendly, dressed to sweat, not to impress. It was a revelation. They returned to the UK, not just with a tan, but with a mission: to bring the spirit of Ibiza back home. Their first attempts were small club nights. Danny Rampling started Shoe in a tiny gym in South London. It was hot, sweaty, and exclusive, with a smiley face logo that would soon become the symbol of the entire movement. Paul Oakenfold opened Spectrum at Heaven, a larger venue, bringing the sound to a wider audience. These nights were the seeds. The music was acid house, a subgenre of house music from Chicago, defined by the squelchy psychedelic sounds of the Roland TB-303 synthesizer. It was futuristic, hypnotic, and completely alien to the mainstream charts. The sound was new, the feeling was new, and it spread like wildfire. By the summer of 1988, dubbed the second summer of love, the club nights could no longer contain the demand. The secret was out. Thousands of kids wanted in. This is where the illegal outdoor raves began. Promoters, seeing the potential, started looking for locations outside the city limits. Disused warehouses, airplane hangars, and most famously, open fields. The M25 motorway, circling London, became the yellow brick road for this new generation of partygoers. Convoys of cars would meet at service stations, waiting for a pager message or a pirate radio broadcast to reveal the secret location of the Night Is party. It was an adventure. Just getting there was part of the experience. These events were massive. Parties like Sunrise, Biology, and Energy attracted tens of thousands of people. Imagine turning up to a field in the middle of the English countryside to find a full-blown festival that had seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Huge sound systems, laser light shows that pierced the night sky, and a sea of people dancing in unison until the sun came up. There were no VIP sections, no dress codes, no social hierarchies. A banker could be dancing next to a bricklayer, united by the beat. It was a truly democratic experience, a temporary autonomous zone where the rules of the outside world didn't apply. The motto was plur, peace, love, unity, and respect. And for a while, it felt real. Of course, we can't talk about the rave scene without acknowledging the elephant in the room: ecstasy. The drug was intrinsically linked to the experience. It lowered inhibitions, enhanced the sensory experience of the music and lights, and created a profound sense of empathy and connection with those around you. It was the chemical key that unlocked the door to the euphoric state that the scene was built on. For many, it turned a crowd of strangers into a temporary family. This sense of unity was the absolute core of the rave movement. It was a direct response to the me-first culture of the 80s. Here, it was all about we. Naturally, this utopian bubble couldn't last forever. The media, initially curious, quickly turned hostile. Tabloid headlines screamed about the dangers of acid house parties and drug use, stoking a moral panic across the country. The evil-faced smiley was plastered across newspapers, turning a symbol of joy into one of moral decay. The government, spurred on by this public pressure, began to crack down. Operation Crackdown saw police roadblocks on motorways, helicopters searching for illegal gatherings, and sound systems being confiscated. It became a cat-and-mouse game between the ravers and the authorities. The climax of this conflict came in 1990 with the Entertainment's Increased Penalties Act, and more significantly, in 1994 with the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act. This piece of legislation was a direct assault on the culture. It famously gave police the power to shut down gatherings of 100 or more people where music was being played that was characterized by the emission of a succession of repetitive beats. Yes, they literally tried to outlaw a drum pattern. It was a moment where the establishment made it crystal clear: this party is over, but you can't kill a spirit. The crackdown, ironically, forced the scene to evolve. It moved from illegal outdoor parties into a legitimate, commercialized industry. Superclubs like Ministry of Sound and Cream were born, offering a safer, more polished, and legal version of the rave experience. The music itself fractured into countless subgenres. The simple rhythms of acid house morphed into hardcore, jungle, drum and bass, trance, and happy hardcore. Each genre built its own tribe, its own sound, and its own identity. Jungle, with its complex breakbeats and deep bass lines, was a distinctly British innovation, a sound born from the multicultural streets of London and Bristol. Looking back, the rave scene of the late 80s and early 90s was more than just a series of parties. It was a youthquake, a powerful social and cultural movement that left an indelible mark on the UK. It changed music forever, paving the way for the dominance of electronic dance music in the charts for decades to come. It revolutionized the nightlife industry, creating the festival and superclub culture we know today. It even influenced fashion, with baggy clothes and bucket hats becoming iconic symbols of the era. But perhaps its most important legacy was the sense of community it created. For a brief, shining moment, it offered a vision of a different kind of society, one based on unity, acceptance, and the simple, profound joy of dancing together. It gave a voice to a lost generation and proved that a beat could be as powerful as any political slogan. The illegal raves may be gone, but the spirit of '88, that feeling of standing in a field as the sun rises, surrounded by thousands of smiling faces, all connected by the same repetitive beat, that spirit lives on. Thank you so much for watching. What are your memories of the rave scene? Did you ever find yourself in a convoy on the M25? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip back in time, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next journey into history. Until next time, keep the vibe alive.